It is time for some English Premier League soccer picks with Al and Nick. Hey guys, don't forget, for the month of March, we have hooked you up with some extra value. Use promo code MARCH all through the madness and save yourself 15% at checkout at picksandparlays.net. Let's start out with the Wolves and Brighton Hove Albion. What do you guys think about this one?
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't I go first? Because, I'm the oldest, and I think it's just a mark of respect. So look, if you listen to this show, you would have heard us, and Al in particular, myself, telling you that in the Tottenham Wolves game, you wanted to take Tottenham because they are, you wanted to take Wolves because they're a terrific team. Adama Traore, Raul Jimenez, one of the best number 9s in the Premier League. They are on fire. Tottenham struggling. And you know what? If you'd done that, you would have got some of that delicious and juicy plus money. I think it was plus 235, Al, if I'm not mistaken, because guess what happened? Wolves beat Tottenham. This match, Wolves playing Brighton Hove Albion. Wolves won 2 in a row. They are currently doing their best. They're tied on points with Man United for that 5th spot. They're going to want to win this game against a Brighton team that is a bit lackluster. They've gone a bit cold, which is an understatement, to be fair, because they haven't won a game since just after Christmas. There's no way on earth I could take anything other than a Wolverhampton Wanderers victory in this game. I know Al's going to probably take the pick'em because he's a little bit more conservative than I am, but I'm just going to swoop in for that yummy, yummy, yummy plus money. And I believe right now, Wolverhampton Wanderers on the plus money side, there is none. They're minus 147. So that's just going to show you. You have
You've got
to take
me all
Wolves,
excited.
they're going to win. I'm sorry.
All right, Al, what say you? Do you think he's right?
Yeah, absolutely think he's right. There's only one way to look at this game, and it's the Wolves. I mean, yeah, as he said, he called that game perfectly, by the way, against Tottenham. He said if Tottenham got out to a lead, that the Wolves would come back in it. But if the Wolves, which they did twice, by the way, and then he did say that if the Wolves would take the lead, that Tottenham would not be able to come back, which is the way the game ended. And so congrats to you, Nick. That was a great call there. But again, yeah, I have to agree with him this time. And we're actually going to have to lay some goals here to try to get some value on the Wolves. So I like them right now. I see them on the, if you put a bit on the money line, which is really juiced, and then a bit on -1 line, it should come out to about a -116.
All right, and that ain't bad. Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Nick, you really are good at picking the final score of the game. I must say that. I follow your stuff. You're pretty good at that.
Well, Ali, I have been a professional pundit specializing in the Premier League. This will be my 20th year.
A pundit specializing in the Premier League? Say that 5 times.
It's a lot of P's, I know. It's a lot of P's.
All right,
yes,
your
exactly.
own tongue twister.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Sheffield and Norwich. Al, let's start with you this time. What do you got to say about this one?
Yeah, this is another big mismatch. I mean, Sheffield's obviously the better team here, and again, the big favorites. There may be a battle for the other 2 relegation spots, but Norwich has got their spot at the bottom of the table locked up, I think, and they are coming off a pretty impressive 1-0 win against Leicester, but just like the best teams we saw go down can't win them all. I guess the worst teams can't lose them all either. I don't think that's a trend that will be continuing though, and I think Sheffield wins this one rather easily. Again, we're gonna have to lay that same line pretty much. Put a little bit on the money line, a bit on the -1. Nick will probably just put it all on the money and get some plus money, but I'm doing that same money line -1 for this time more to. I see it move that one at -118.
All right, -118. Nick, go ahead.
Well, Al, before the show, we talked about the picks, and I said, I think I agree with you on everything. But, I have to say, the more I think about this particular match, Norwich are coming off that massive win, albeit it was at Carrow Road, so it was at home against Leicester City. And look, very unique to sports outside of America is this promotion and relegation battle that goes on. The bottom 3 teams in the Premier League will get dumped down to the Championship. That is like moving out of the NFL and going to play in the XFL, to use an example. And the top 3 teams in the XFL would come up to the NFL. What happens when we get this late on in the season, 10 games to the end? The teams that are in danger of losing all that delicious Premier League money and star power, they start fighting for their lives. And, we saw this particularly over the weekend. Watford giving the first defeat to Liverpool of the season. Why? Well, Watford, a decent team, but they are fighting for their very lives. Norwich City, they are not out of this battle yet. This 3 points they picked up at Leicester City could well have given them a little bit of drive, shall we say, a little bit of belief. They're not a great team, no doubt about it. Sheffield United are a lovely team. Both these teams were promoted from the Championship. They both played each other last season a lot. And Sheffield United coming off a draw, albeit to Brighton Hove Albion, a team they should have beaten. You know what, Al? I'm gonna change it up on you, buddy. I'm gonna say this is a draw.
A draw? Is he allowed to do that,
Good
Al?
luck with that one. I don't know if he should be on this one. I mean, I don't see it here, but best of luck to you.
All right, fair enough. I wasn't going to bring up the 3-0 Liverpool loss, but...
No, bring it up. It's fine. And look, Liverpool are in trouble. They're having their blip. Every team will have a blip unless you're Arsenal in their invincible season. They lost to Atletico Madrid. They had a tough game against West Ham. By the way, don't count out the fact one of the toughest games they played this season was that 1-0 victory they got over Norwich City. And that was just the game before they lost to Watford. So look, these teams at the bottom fight for their lives, and they give the effort that maybe they should have done at the beginning of the season. They wouldn't be at the bloody bottom of the table. But let's just go with it. Let's move on because I know we're running out of time.
We are. We're going
to have a lovely consensus.
All right. Dueling handicappers, I present you Watford and Crystal Palace. Nick, go.
Well, I don't think actually Al and I are going to be in much disagreement on this one, to be honest with you. I am a huge fan of this Watford team. I've talked about them a lot. I think this team, particularly, they lost Troy Deeney for much of the early part of the season, and he is their body and their soul. It's a very well-run club. It's a club where everybody's happy, and they were really, struggling at the bottom of the table. They bring in Nigel Pearson. He turned it around, and they had a little bit of a dead spell. This win against Liverpool, though, gives them all the impetus. I used the dust boot analogy. I said Watford were that submarine that was stuck at the bottom of the ocean, and they're fixing it, and they're blowing the water out, and it's their last gasp, and suddenly it shakes, and it moves, and the sand blows, and it slowly lifts up off the bottom. Well, that's what Watford have been doing. They are now out of the relegation zone. This is a huge match. Now, Crystal Palace, on the other hand, I'll make this quick. This is one of these teams. You just never know what you're going to get day in, day out. I mean, they are a Roy Hodgson team, so they should be a little bit more predictable. They have won 2 on the bounce, though, against Newcastle and against Brighton Hove Albion. But you know what? I like Watford for this game. They've got so much more to play for than Crystal Palace. I'm going to take the away team here, and I believe that there is some delicious plus money on this one. Is there not, Al?
Yeah, I believe they're plus 178. Let me double check that number for you. But yeah, I do agree that Watford is the side. Unfortunately, this is the one that I see as the closest one of the 3. So if there were to be a draw, this is the one I would put my money on. But that being, sorry, I see it plus 189. So yeah, a little more plus money for you there. But yeah, we've talked about how inconsistent some of these teams been. I think Watford's really showed that throughout their season, and maybe even summed it up in their last 2 games. Losing 3-0 to United, and then following that up with that big 3-0 win against Liverpool. And I think they do carry that momentum over to this game. And,
all right.
Palace coming off 2 1-0 wins, but you have to go a long way, all the way back to 2019 to find.
All right, give me a pick. I need a pick.
Okay, I'm taking Watford. I'll pick him at plus 110.